This video will show you how to correctly complete VA Form 21-526EZ. This is the form that must be used when filing an initial or new VA disability claim, request an increase for a condition already service-connected, file a condition secondary to a service-connected condition, and request a temporary 100% rating. You can also request certain special monthly compensations for disability on this form. For instance, Diana is already service-connected and has a disability rating for the loss of use of both of her feet. Diana can also request SMC-L. If approved, Diana will receive extra pay for this disability on top of what she is compensated for the percentage assigned. Pages 1 through 8 of the form are for instructional and information purposes. Here you will find information on where and how to submit the form, what can be filed on this form, and what additional information is needed. When submitting this form to VA, you should not include these pages. The top portion of the 9th page on VA Form 21-526EZ will set the stage for how VA will prioritize your claim. The fully developed claim program will be selected if you are submitting supporting evidence along with the claim, such as medical evidence to show diagnosis, a doctor's nexus statement, and VA Form 21-4138 to describe when the event or injury occurred, where it happened, and what happened. Granny's rule is, you should always submit evidence along with the claim. However, if you will be filing the claim without evidence, then you will select Standard Claim. The Integrated Delivery Evaluation System, or IDES, is an expedited VA claim for an active duty service member severely injured while active. Their injuries make them incapable of performing their duties or securing gainful employment after discharge. They will have a percentage of disability upon discharge. A similar, yet less severe claim, is the Benefits Delivery at Discharge, or BDD. This is for an active service member who has a disability incurred while on active duty, and that disability is expected to be chronic after discharge. They can file this claim from within 90 to 180 days of discharge. Something to keep in mind before we get started: if you will be completing this form by handwritten documentation, use black ink and write as clearly as possible. VA has many claims to process, so you don't want to do anything to cause error or delay. On page 9, Section 1, is where you will enter the veteran's information. Remember, VA Form 21-526EZ is a disability claim form for the veteran only. Part 2 is for the veteran's full name, Part 3 is for the veteran's Social Security number, Part 4 is asking if you have ever filed a VA claim before, Part 5 is for the VA file number. This is usually always the Social Security number. Part 6 is for the veteran's date of birth, Part 7 is for a service number. This usually only applies for older veterans. Part 8 is only for BDD claims. Here you will enter the date you will be discharged from service. Part 9 is for the veteran telephone number. Part 10 is for the veteran's full mailing address. If you have a new address, not already on file with VA, you cannot just enter it here. VA will still use your original address. Part 11 is where you enter the veteran's email address. Part 12 will only be checked if the veteran is a VA employee. Page 9, Section 2. This section needs to be completed only if you need to change your mailing address with VA. Leave this blank if you do not. Page 10, Section 3. Part 14A through 14C are to evaluate your sheltered status. Part 14E and F are to list a trusted contact if VA is unable to reach you. If you don't have one, leave it blank. Note, at the top of every page of this form, beginning on page 10, you will need to enter your Social Security number. Please don't forget to do this. Page 10, Section 4. In Part 15A, if you are not filing a disability related to toxic exposure, select No and move on to Section 5 on page 11. If you are, then select Yes and answer Parts 15B through 15E. In Part 15b, this is asking if you served in the Persian Gulf or Africa. Select yes or no. Part 15c is asking if you were ever exposed to herbicide, such as Agent Orange. Select yes or no. Parts 15d and e is where you will list any other toxins you were exposed to, relating to the disability you are filing. If you have multiple incidents, you might need to be very brief here, and then elaborate on VA Form 21-4138. If none of these apply, then leave blank. Page 11, Section 5. In this section, you will list the conditions you are filing. Parts 1 through 15 is where you will list your disabilities, how they relate to your service, and approximately when the condition began or worsened. I have filed several conditions in the example for you to get an idea. Don't forget, if a condition did not exist prior to service, began in service, even if for no known reason, and you still are being treated for the condition, it is chronic. You can file a claim for it. Part A is where you will list places of treatment. If VA Healthcare is treating you, then enter that here. If you are receiving treatment from a private doctor too, I want you to enter, please see attached. I want you to submit your private doctor medical records with the claim. Complete VA Form 21-4142 and 4142A only if you have no other choice. Granny is talking to you now. Listen. Check Part C if you do not know the dates of treatment. But my students are going to know their dates of treatment. Right? Yes. Page 12, Section 6 is all about your military service information. I'm not going to go through each part in great detail. Be sure to answer yes or no to each part requiring that answer. Part 18A and B ask if you ever served under another name. This typically will apply to a female veteran who entered the service under their maiden name, and either married during or after service. Parts 21A through 21F are where you will enter your reserves or National Guard information. If you answered yes to 21A, it is important to complete the remaining information pertaining to your current or prior reserve or National Guard assignments and dates. VA will need this information to retrieve your service treatment and personnel records from them. If you transition from active duty to the Guard or reserves, they have your entire military personnel file. Upon discharge from the Guard or reserves, that unit is responsible for sending your military personnel file to National Archives. This includes all of your records during active duty. If they do not, then VA will need to contact that unit to request them. If you answer yes to 21F, VA will offset your disability payments while you are active on drill. Page 12, Section 7. This section is about your military retirement information. In Part 24A, answer yes or no. 24B, yes or no. If your answer is yes, then you will need to complete 24C through 26. If you are or will receive military retirement pay, at least 50% of your VA disability must be combat related to receive both. Otherwise, VA will allow you to be compensated the greater of the two. If at least 50% of your VA disability is not combat related, and you want your disability noted for the purposes of possible dependent benefits, if you pass away of your service-connected disability, you can check box 26. This is asking VA not to pay you in lieu of retirement pay. You may need to consult with DFAS for more information. Page 13 of Section 7 asks if you ever received a separation payment when you were discharged. This is for any reason that you received that payment. The reason this is important is because VA will require you to repay this, via your disability payments, before you can begin receiving the payments. You cannot hide this. The United States Treasury Department is responsible for all federal government transactions. They will know. You don't want to risk having to pay back more than what you already owed. Parts 27A through C is where you be honest with this information. If you are unsure of the exact amount you received during separation, It is on member 4 of your DD-214. Part 28 is asking if you do not want to receive VA payment in lieu of Guard or Drill Reserve pay. Remember, you can't receive both. Page 13, Section 8. Enter your payment information here. This is where VA will begin paying you when you are approved for disability compensation. Pages 13 and 14, Sections 33A through 37A. This is all about signature and date. Remember, this is very important. Without your signature and date, the claim is invalid. You, the veteran, will sign and date in Sections 33A and 33B. No need to go over page 15 of VA Form 21-526EZ. This is more space for adding disabilities if needed. That's it. Now, you are ready to submit this claim.